Hey, this is a new podcast I wanted to share with you. It's property management can make you more money. How is that? Well, first I want you to understand what property management really is. Some people do, which is scary, but you can't really open up a property management unless you have a broker that runs it. That's a broker's license, meaning that you're going to be licensed and registered with the state. You're going to have E&O insurance, all this stuff, and keeping up with the cities as far as keeping all the oxy permits updated. All that has to be done through the property management. So when you're looking at what we do, that's just part. Most people think, well, we just collect money, we send people up there out and just mark them up, and that's the end of the deal. Well, that's not it. There's a lot more to it, and I want to go over that to you. So first of all, property managements have a lot of overhead. So, for example, our property management, and we do about 200 homes. We're right at $10,000 a month, a little bit less on overhead. That's just what it is. You've got to have insurance, office. You've got to have people running things, watching things, and there's got to be all this stuff that has to be done. And some of it is done on the ground too. I mean, we have to travel to a property a lot, for repairs, leasing, walkthrough, utilities, vacancies, dealing with the tenants. All this stuff has to be done. You have to take pictures, make sure that the owner knows what's going on there. So there's a lot there with the property management. A lot of time, money, gas, mileage is done on that in order to take care of them right. Now, not all property managements do that, but we do. And then you've got to lease each property for top dollar. That costs money. So we have to pay for marketing. I have my own license. I have to pay for my yearly fees. I have to take all the schooling to keep up with my license. I have to hang my license with the brokerage. I have to pay a fee to my brokerage. So there's all kinds of costs with that. So, but that sets me up with a good CRM. That sets me up with all these different marketing that I can send out to hundreds of sites and get you the top rents. And that's really the key to making every property the maximum rent that we can get. For example, every property has its own website. That I have a CRM that just automatically creates that, so we can put that into a listing, and they can go in there and look at that. And we do walkthrough videos, pictures, all that stuff has to be done, and it's done. It's done If done properly, it'll rent quickly. Ours is about an 18 to 30 day average on the rentals, and we almost 100% of the time get what we quote, and they aren't cheap. So these are $1,600 properties and up in most cases. We also have to answer a lot of questions to the owners. What can be done? Why is this being done or that being done? There's many questions that have to be answered in order to make sure that you have a profitable property. I know of one particular property management right now that they had shifted, owner had shifted a property over to this other property management. A tree fell down on the neighbor's house, and they haven't pulled an oxy permit. So they have no idea who's managing that property. So that particular owner is going to be in big time trouble because they have no idea who to get a hold of. It's an international client. So it's super important to have boots on the ground and make sure that you have a professional one that does answer questions to people when they call. Make sure that things are taken care of and things don't get out of whack, because that could cause a tenant to move out. That could cause frozen pipes. There's a lot of stuff that could happen there. And then keeping accounting, we use AppFolio, which you have to be a licensed property management in order to have. You can't get it unless you have a license. So it's an accounting package that keeps balance sheets. It wires money. It takes payments. It has portals for the owners. It gives you yearly statements, 1099s. It's all the information you want with that property is in that account, and it's balanced and verified every other day. I mean, it's just there's a lot of money that goes through there. I mean, there's close to $3 million a year that goes through that account, and that's a lot of money. So that all has to be balanced and taken care of. Property taxes have to be paid. All this stuff has to be kept up. Insurance in some cases, not all, have to get up. So that's important to have. And you've got to keep these things leased. You've got to get good tenants. You've got to get background credit checks. All that takes time. You've got to call the previous landlord, the employer, meet with the tenant, get get their their details on what they make, paycheck stubs, all this stuff that they have to get in case, just to know who they are, and then background checks, making sure they're not a criminal. Had one particular case in Strongsville. It's the only one that I know of that we've ever had. That this particular tenant had good credit, but then when we ran a background check, she had a drug charge on her. So we checked that out, and she'd been addicted to heroin. That's not a good drug to be in your house. So, she'd only been off it for 6 months, so obviously we could not give her the house. So that alleviated probably a lot of potential disasters in the future. But that's what we do. And then, if there's a tenant that has a problem, we take care of it. For example, last winter there was a heater that went out. The warranty company wouldn't come out to the next day, so we sent a guy out with heaters. It was $130, $140 later. Everything was taken care of, and the next day they came and took care of the heater. Boom, tenant's happy, everything's good. Then you got your emergencies. Your emergencies really need to be handled gently, because if it's the weekend especially, we really watch that. Sometimes we'll put tenants into a hotel, which is way cheaper than dealing with an emergency. But in most cases, we can get those done very quickly, and everybody's happy, and it's all ready to go. So that's just part of a property management company. It's really a detailed situation. And a lot of people want to beat on the $25, $50 upcharge on these things. Well, we have to make phone calls, we have to pay assistants, we have to do a lot of different stuff in order to do that. And the other thing too is we are consistently getting more rent for properties. Example, 11901 Wayland, was at $1,200 a month and went up to I think $1,250. We started at $1,100, but she lived in there for 4.5 years. So after 4.5 years, we put a little bit of work into it, rented it out for $1,550 a month. That's a $3,600 lift in the rent. You've got to do these things. It's a lot easier to rent for less. Believe me, it's a lot easier. And I know a lot of people are held captive to property managements too that don't send all the money. They have problem tenants, so you're sitting there going, if I leave that property management, they're not going to give me all my money. Well, that's probably not true. But the case is you're going to have that problem for the rest of the time you have that property. So you don't have stress in your life. You don't want any of that. So we have about 200 units. We're 99.5% success, and we have almost a zero vacancy. In fact, Lori came in. We're not even done with 311 Columbus, and we think we already have it rented out. So we have a lot of marketing and tenants that want to live in our places because they like it. One over in Lakewood, she was moving out of one of our duplexes. It was just too small for her. She needed a house. We moved her right into one of our houses over there in Lakewood. She lives there now. They're great tenants. They pay on time. We have good vibes with them because they're always on time and they don't miss payments. So if you're looking for a property management, look for one that's going to get the job done. You may save whatever. I don't know what you'll save, but in the long run, if people don't pay their rent, if the property management isn't on top of things because they aren't getting paid or they're not keeping houses rented or they're in areas that don't rent, well, we aren't that company. We're a company that keeps everything rented, keeps our clients happy. My famous saying is, we like for our clients to smoke cigars and collect checks. So again, give me a call. I'm Brett. I'm with Key Realty Property Management, 216-703-5740. Our tenants stay an average of about 24 months, and we have them all the way up to 6-7 years. So give me a call, 216-703-5740, and I can show you how property management can make you more money. Thanks.